Good morning, friends, and welcome to Wake Up in the Word. Thanks for joining me this morning. I got the old Mustang cup out today. Wanted to drink from it. Some of y'all don't have to imagine that I'm a Mustang fan. You can just look at some of the memorabilia in the picture on the wall behind me to know that. And besides all of that, there's some history in all of us of favorite old cars, for example, that we've liked, whether it goes back to our high school days or not. But all of that's changing today. Does that take your peace away? Today, if you want to focus on one of those old, loud, roaring sounding muscle cars that are really dinosaurs today, you'd have to face the fact that to operate one will cost you a fortune, almost as much as the vehicle will cost you. So if you haven't gone from the old-fashioned Mustang, as is on my cup, to the one that's called a Mach-E that you plug in, you're just being left behind in this world today. It frustrates a lot of us, and it gives us this sense of uncertainty. Things are just not the way they should be, and you're just shaking up our paradigm. And, well, as we look at the world today, everything shakes up our paradigm. Tomorrow, in the biblical perspective, I may deal with the fact that we've been told over the past couple of years that certain things are just lies, they're disinformation, they're conspiracy theories. And no one will believe that. Matter of fact, if you're believing it, you must be maybe a Russian spy or something trying to infiltrate our country. Then all of a sudden, we have officials from our own government stand up and admit that they were true after all. What does that do to your peace? What does that do to your security? Do you suddenly begin to shake in your boots and think, wow, we've got a bunch of liars and hacks running our own country that lie to us with a straight face all the time. What can you believe from these people? Well, if you're having a hard time believing the world's liars, join the club. But I can tell you one thing. There is one person who'll never let you down. There is one who you can always believe. His name is Jesus. And here at the end of John chapter 16 in our devotional series, he finally responds to the disciples who have apparently had the light come on and have said, yes, we believe. Matter of fact, the last part of verse 30 is the disciples saying, by this we believe that you came from God. Now Jesus is like, okay, good. You believe the right thing, but, and that leads us to verse 31. Before we get there, let me read M.O. Owens' forward on this particular passage. He said, in response to Jesus' words, these disciples have reaffirmed their belief in much the same way that Peter had declared his at the beginning of the discourse back in chapter 13. But Jesus replied to the disciples' confession as he had to Peter's. He questioned the stability of their faith and predicted that they would desert him. Despite this gloomy prospect, however, Jesus confirmed his promises to them and revealed his confidence in their final victory. Let's see how he does that. Verse 31. Jesus responded to them, do you now believe? Indeed, an hour is coming and has come when each of you will be scattered to his own home, and you will leave me alone. Yet I am not alone, because the Father is with me. I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. You will have suffering in this world. Be courageous. I've conquered the world. As we listen to that last discourse, the disciples still must have been perplexed. They didn't know what was coming. It would all be made plain very soon. You're all about to be scattered. We're all together. We've been enjoying a great time. Wasn't this a great Passover feast tonight? And Jesus has revealed so many new things to us. And my goodness, that thing about this cup, the new covenant in his blood, that was a little bit concerning. But some of these other things are just wonderful. Seems like he's telling us more and more truth tonight than he's told us in the entire ministry. We're all together. We're unified right now. We're going to be scattered? Really? Yes, I'm afraid you are, my friends. And as we look at this truth, Jesus assures them that despite what may be coming tomorrow or next week, you are going to have something the world can't take away. The word is peace. Now that's comforting for all of us to know. When we look at the world situation right now, it looks like war is happening. People are trying to take away peace. They're trying to take away security. They're trying to infiltrate our lives and mess them up. They're trying to make life in itself so expensive that you can't live it. And that seems to wreak havoc on the peace that's inside of our lives. But what you need to grasp, my friend, is this peace that transcends all understanding, as it says in Philippians. This peace is something given to a believer to keep you through every circumstance of life. It's what's going to keep us, just as with the disciples, it would keep them to the flip side of understanding what's going on. Yes, Jesus was about to die. He was about to be arrested and yanked from them. They would all tuck tail and run. I mean, they would really just get out of Dodge. They were afraid they were going to be next. They hid. Yes, they were cowards in some respect. All of us are, aren't we? Are you going to face up to the guns or run and hide and protect yourself and your family? Well, of course, the latter is what most of us do. It's our most natural, basic of instincts that God put in our hearts. Survival. The disciples would be facing that. They wouldn't be called cowards because of it. Instead, Jesus says, don't worry, these things are going to happen. I'm not alone. The Father's with me. And I've told you all of this, that in me you may have peace. That'll be a peace hard to come by in just a short time, as they have to realize Jesus is being executed publicly in such a terrible and violent way that their biggest fear will be that we're next. Well, instead of that, though, we have the great victory that was coming. The victory that Jesus knew was going to take precedence over all the other painful circumstances in their life, but it's hard to explain that to them right now. My friends, it may be hard to explain for you as you're dealing with the suffering of the present day. For many of us, that could be physical suffering, it can be circumstantial suffering, but in either account, and sometimes it's multiple sufferings at the same time. But either way, God promises He will see you through it. And because of that, you and I can depend on Him in the darkest of times. I say that to my friends in Ukraine right now, and Ethiopia, and Yemen, and all the places that are experiencing dark times. And some of you have been going through dark times for years. And you say, when is it going to end? We have to trust God that He and He alone knows the circumstances and the end of all things. Folks, read the end of the book, and I'm talking about the Bible. Read the end of the book. In the end, we win. So what can you think about all these things? I want to leave you with Dr. Tony Evans. It looks like a minor footnote in his study Bible here at the end of chapter 16, but he writes these words that I think are most encouraging for us today. Listen. He says, regardless of how the world beats you down, you have reason to live with bold faith because Jesus is the sovereign king over the world. He has defeated sin, Satan, and death. If you're a believer, your eternity is secure. And Jesus has the power to overrule your earthly circumstances. Knowing this truth and maintaining an intimate relationship with the Lord will radically change your perspective as you face whatever obstacles come your way. So, my friend, I don't know what obstacles you're facing today or will face this weekend, but be assured, if you know Jesus, you can face them with an inner peace that will allow you to calmly address whatever is happening with wisdom, with courage, and with faith. God bless you. We'll see you again right here tomorrow as we break out a new episode of The Biblical Perspective, and each and every weekday as we wake up in God's Word. God bless you.